Hi, good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 49th Leadership Layers lecture by Harish Trivedi, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Apollo Proton Cancer Centers, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. And he's going to be talking about a very interesting topic called digital healthcare in India and rest of the world, and how the digital transformation is engulfing the healthcare sector. If you look at Harish Trivedi's profile, is very illustrious, having led from the forefront various companies and various institutions. In a career span of more than 28 years, Harish has diligently worked in various industries and renowned organizations, including in healthcare in the country, strategizing and restructuring key functions for them. Healthcare is one of the most demanding and upcoming industries in a developing nation like India. Harish believes that his insight, strong domain expertise, and a connectivity in the industry are his key assets. Having worked in multiple and diverse conditions in close association with top management and himself as top management of this organization, he has not only accomplished growth of revenue and profits, but also managed prima donna clinicians and added new specialties and technologies, encompassing the entire spectrum of healthcare industry. Having worked very closely with US MNCs like General Mills and PepsiCo, Tata Tele and Telecom, Reliance Retail, and Fortis, Max and BPS Healthcare, Harish's insights are valued not only by renowned firms, but also contribute to prestigious institutions like IAMS, CIA, FICI in form of panel discussion. He's a keen planner and strategist, adept in managing business operations with focus on top and bottom line performance. And those of you who happen to see his LinkedIn post, that is something that very, very close to all of us and especially to us. And that is the way he and his team have been putting up various initiatives, what we call as a very patient-centric organization. I think every week I get to see one post, and so heartening and so heartwarming to see the lengths that he and his team go to make sure that the patient is not taken care of, but also given a wonderful experience, not just to him, but also to his immediate family members. I think that's very, very comforting. I think that goes a long way in the way all these companies, institutions, especially healthcare institutions, are gearing up to make all of themselves patient-centric institutions. Over to you, Harish.
Thank you, Dr. Nagendra. Thank you so very much for this brief introduction, and I'll share my PPT. I hope you can see the PPT.
Yeah, good to go.
Good. So how I'll take the presentation is broadly, first I'll run you through about APCC. I'll take 2-3 minutes, what we are doing at APCC, then give you what exactly happening in healthcare, how the digital transformation is happening, and at very broad level, what are the digital trends, how it is going to change the healthcare delivery. That's how I'm going to take the presentation. And in the end, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to address it. So I'll take the presentation now. The current organization where I'm working, Apollo Proton Cancer Centre, is based out of Chennai. And I'm sure most of you know what is a proton. Proton, so let me say it's a kind of a radiation. And when you see the other kind of a radiation, it is purely based on a X-ray technology, where the radiation passes through the tumor and touches I'll say the best tissues around the tumor, and it may have damage your good tissues and liver toxicity. So the reoccurrence chances are very high in the normal radiation. Proton is hydrogen based, where we extract proton from hydrogen. So it's like any nuclear reactor plant, it has been created. And since it stops at the edge of the tumor, it's called a bragg peak. It leaves all the radiation at the tumor and doesn't touch any good tissues, harm any tissues. So, and it's a positive charge, so it doesn't leave any toxicity. So it's good for the patient, especially pediatric patients. So this is Southeast Asia's only proton center, and I'll say advanced comprehensive cancer care, where nobody does in cancer. That's the kind of difficult cases we do at APCC. And So this is the proton gantry. In case we have not seen it, specialty for us is we do a very site specific work for every different sites. We have a super specialist. For example, the person who's doing brain will not get into head and neck. The person who's getting into head and neck will not touch the upper GI, lower GI, breast is a different. So we have a site specific team, which you call it a CMT. And we have the best of the state of the art machines across. So if you happen to be in Chennai, you are most welcome to see the facility. And since we are the only person in the entire South Asia, we don't compete with anyone, but we best compete with the best centers of US and Europe. That's what we do. And like Dr. Nagendra has just touched, the culture which we have created right now, we are in 4th year of operation. The culture which we have created here is we treat every single patient and their family member like our family member. Because any patient is diagnosed with the cancer, not only the patient, but his entire family is under due stress. So we go out of our way and ensure we treat every single patient as our family member and provide them unparalleled experience in their most difficult times. So they become our brand ambassador and they send more patients. So that's what we do at Apollo Proton Cancer Center. Now moving on to today's topic. So before I discuss anything else, let's see what is the current scenario in healthcare in India and how the things are moving. So broadly, we all know in healthcare, the kind of a setup which we have is the public setup, government institution we have, which is a primary, secondary, and there are tertiary care centers like AIMS we have. Then Apollo is the pioneer. We are the pioneer in private healthcare. Our chairman is the father of modern healthcare industry in India. And we also have a lot of PPP model. And the kind of ratios which we see, the beds to the population in healthcare, which is 0.7, and the doctors where we require one doctor after every 1,000 population. That's a bare minimum I'm talking. Otherwise, the WHO says 2.5. We have a 0.7. So the problem is we don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough beds. And that was clearly visible when we hit with the pandemic. We know the vulnerability of our healthcare system. The problem is beds and the doctors which we have in the metro cities, 70% of the beds and the doctors are available in metro city and A-class city, whereas the 65 plus percentage of population is in the tier 2, tier 3 and the rural area. So it's clearly mismatch between the availability for beds and the doctors across India. And broadly, I define the healthcare issue into 3 buckets. One is the definitely accessibility issue. Doctors, when we leave the metro cities and town A, if we happen to visit the interior part of UP, Bihar, Kolkata, or part of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, then you will realize it's a serious issue which we need to resolve as a healthcare professional. Affordability, this trend which we are seeing or what we have seen in the Western world, the way the cost has gone up, similar trend which now we are seeing in India. Slowly the cost is going up for the healthcare services. And good thing have done by the government of India is they have kept medicine rates for the critical diseases, and that's a good thing, by which we'll be able to keep it artificially under a control. But earlier, if you see, we had a 5 lakh rupees insurance, which is the average penetration or the family have, is definitely inadequate in today's world. So affordability is definitely a question. And third is the equitable healthcare access to everyone. There should not be any difference, the kind of delivery which is happening to the poor or the middle class or to the rich. So these are the 3 issues which we have. And in the subsequent slide, we will see how with the help of digital transformation, we'll be able to address the issue. In healthcare delivery, our current approach is purely curative. If you are not feeling well, you will come to hospital, get the consultation done, surgery or procedure done, and once you are well, you will be discharged from the hospital. So entire healthcare delivery approach right now is a curative approach. And then we'll see a subsequent slide. The another issues which we are going to face in a very big way as our NCDs, non-communicable disease. The cost of NCDs, if nothing has been done on NCDs as of today, then the cost will be more than $1 trillion going forward in another 3 years. And that our country will not be able to afford, because if what we are talking right now is a 5 trillion economy in another 3 to 5 years time, or maybe another 10 trillion in 7 to 8 years. So if this kind of a cost, which is say 18% to 20% cost on purely on NCD, it is absolutely unaffordable by any economy or any country. So NCD is the another issue which we are facing. I've just discussed about the insurance penetration. It is less than right now 20%. A lot of people have bought the health insurance after the pandemic, and suddenly there has been a bust. But the average policy size is not there more than 5 lakhs as another issue. Another issue which we are seeing in healthcare is the availability of a quality education. The doctor we are churning out from our medical institution, if you go and meet them, they will not be able to read the ECG. That's a kind of a problem we have. Look at the kind of medical paperwork which they are doing. It's really pathetic. So we have a serious issue of quality education provided by the existing institution, and overall curriculum. If we see, it's just a serious issue, and that's really need a addressal. So these are the issues currently we are facing in our healthcare. Now let's see how we will be able to address this issue with the help of the digital transformation. So curative approach we discuss, and I'll go. I hope all of you understand what is India's tech. India's tech is a base created by a government institution to build our all digital initiative based on that. So it's a basic framework which is available. And first is the Aadhaar. It's a single man, all credit goes to Nandan Nalikani for creating this fantastic project where all biometrics of the people are captured, and it is more than 1 billion people across India. So more than 99% of the people who are the resident citizen of the India, and some of the non-residents also have Aadhaar card now. So it's a biometrics data is available with us. And if you see KYC or eKYC done in less than a minute with the single OTP on your mobile phone, and your KYC is done. If you want to open any account, it can be done in less than 5 minutes. So Aadhaar is the base framework which we have. Second is the Unified Payment Interface, UPI. We have seen now more than 1 trillion transaction is happening across India. So I'm sure most of you will recall one of our finance minister in past made a statement how you expect the rural India to make the digital transaction when they don't have a mobile connection or a mobile penetration or a connectivity and the kind of the education they have. So it will be a very difficult. So there's a famous statement which you can go and see on the YouTube. But now the completely it is changed. We have created a system within a one click. You can transfer your money from your account to somebody else's account. And this is kind of a system we have not seen anywhere across the world. Even the US or best countries in Europe are struggling with it. And they have their own reasons because the kind of money and their banking system is making it. But we have offered to the world the system. It is open API. And now more than 28 countries are in discussion with India, and GCC countries will be rolling out, and in UAE is already rolled out. So what will happen is transaction from account to account become very easy, and the cost of transaction will come down. So it's a fantastic system which we have created, which is sitting at the base. Third is the DigiLocker. All the driving licenses, your education qualifications, certificates, and other documents can be stored in DigiLocker. Why it is very important is you can sign any document online, right? You can sign your property documents and it is valid and can be stored digitally. So digital signature is accepted across. So I'll say India's tech is this is a base framework on which entire digital initiative of government of India and in the private sector, this is built on. So this is called the India stake. Now, there was a time, so like I made the statement of one of our famous leader from opposition party made a statement on connectivity. So you see the kind of mobile penetration or the connectivity we have across India is more than 99%. We have been told that people in India, because of their education background coming from the rural India, they will not adapt to all the initiatives, especially a digital initiative, where I don't see that's an issue as an Indian. We Indian are very smart. When we see a value for money in anything, we will easily adopt to anything. So there was a time, now you must be seeing your watchman is watching the movie on their mobile phone. So what is very important is the data cost. And we are the cheapest across the world. We have a better connectivity. Now, many cities have already moved on to 5G. And with that kind of a 4G and 5G connectivity, I'm sure we'll have a better penetration across India. So this is called a India stake. So this is a base framework available for everybody across India and across the world if they get in touch with the government of India. Now let's see quickly. Now I'll go very specific in hospital, how the flow of the patient comes in a hospital. So patient comes to hospital from the two-way. One is definitely OPD and second was the emergency. And patient stays in emergency where then it may get discharged or may require admission. It goes to IP admission. Patient comes to OPD, have a consultation with the doctors, do a lot of things, and then patient may get discharged or may come to IP admission. Now, this is the flow in any typical hospital. Now, how the digital transformation is happening in hospital and how it is helping in driving the overall satisfaction of the patient, overall revenue of the hospitals in healthcare industry, and helping hospitals in maximizing or rationalizing the cost. So let's see this. So when patient comes to your OPD, now the doctors have started writing the e-prescription. Most of the people, you hear them, they talk about the data is the gold mine. There's a famous statement by Shri Mukesh Ambani, and he is advocating about how the data will become a gold mine, or it is the asset which will be benefiting to a lot of the people and corporate across India and world. So to capture any data, you need to have a digital prescription in a hospital. And once we have a digital prescription, and if you see any typical prescription, I'm sure most of you have visited the doctors, it will 100% have written a pharmacy prescription. Then maybe around 50 to 60% of the time, some lab investigation, and less than 50% time, some radiology investigation is written. Once the data is captured, what is happening nowadays, I'll give you example. In one of my hospital, we completely turned a paperless. So all the prescription which is ready, suppose the patient requests. So what is happening on one side of most of the healthcare and the hospital spend a lot of money in driving the patients to the hospital, but the same patients will go out and do window shopping, and losing out this kind of patients is a criminal, right? So once we have the prescription, digitally written prescription, it's very easy to look at the various kind of the conversions. Immediately, you will look at the conversion and convert the patient for maybe a pharmacy or radiology, and based on this, we will further move. And if you talk about the radiology, teleradiology is available. If the doctors are not available, we have seen many chain of a hospital, now they have a centralized radiology reporting which is happening. So earlier, wherever you require a lot of people and the cost, now the rationalizations are happening and the efficiency is brought in the entire system. And now the reports are written on tele-radiology. So it's easily available. We'll talk about when the consultation is required, patient comes in person. It is not necessarily now you need to go to the hospital or go to your OPD or a clinic of the doctors for a consultation. Now a teleconsultation is happening. So you have a e-prescription, you have a teleconsultation, tele-radiology. And once everything is done, if you are visiting the hospital, then immediately this prescription will go to pharmacy. They will keep your medicine ready, and if not, if it's online, then online you can place the medicine order. And now within 1 hour, we have Apollo Pharmacy, Apollo 24/7. We ensure that medicine reaches to the patients within 1 hour. So this has completely changed. Now, once your investigation or diagnostics are done, your report is available to you online, which you can see it immediately and you can share with your doctor, and you'll be able to see with the packs, immediately see and then prescribe you the further line of treatment. So this entire piece on OPD has already gone on digital. Now let's look at the, if you require inpatients and you are getting admitted in hospital, if you'll come to my hospital, and you will see most of the best hospitals, which is a Max or a Fortis, everybody has now connected rooms. That means when the patient gets admitted, you require to, based on the condition of the patients, you need to monitor them. So now we have a devices which are placed near the patients, where all the critical parameters of the patient gets captured on 24/7 real-time basis, and it is readily available on the central panel of the doctors and the nurses, where they can monitor. So earlier, where you used to go and see the patient, say every 1 hour or a half an hour, now it is not required. Once you set the critical parameters range, and if it breaches, immediately alert will go to doctors, your ICU team, or nurses or supervisors. So this is remote monitoring which is happening through the connected room. In the connected room, even if you want to say change the light or switch off the light, you just give a command through Alexa and it is done. Right, your music can be played, or if you want to order anything through Alexa, you can place the order, and it is taken, the order taken and placed to the respective department, and you'll get it. So that's the another digitization which is happening. Another thing is, you must have seen the Uber and Ola app, where the nearest one taxi comes to you. So in hospital, there are nurses are dependent on for different services like housekeeping and JDA for the movement of the patients if they require anything. So the nearest one, so through app and the GPS, wherever the nearest one housekeeping guy or a helper will receive the message, they will complete these services, and it brings a lot of efficiency in the system. And we have seen the cost coming down. We have seen in Manipal Hospital, Max Hospital, in an Apollo, it can bring a lot of efficiency and bring down the cost by 1/3, 33% of in any hospital if it's used effectively. So that's OP and IP area, how the digital system is helping the hospitals and healthcare. Now look at the emergency. When the patients are coming, during the pandemic, we have seen the beds are not available in emergency. Triage is happening in emergency. So now the remote monitoring can also be done. So they have created beds which is in far off area where the centralized system is available. They are monitoring the patients depending on the criticality, and it can be moved to different area. If patients is getting admitted in IP, we have already discussed, but if the patient gets discharged and doesn't really require, then with the help of home healthcare, ICU can be set up at home, remote monitoring can be done from the hospitals, and we already have a devices through which we capture the critical parameters of the patient. Once the problem which we have seen, once the patient gets discharged from the hospital, then the medication compliance, if you are prescribing say 10 medicines on a different time, most of the patient don't take. So now the app is also available for the ensure the medical compliances, and Google has invested very big time in it, and things are moving in the right direction. So that's another area where digitization is happening. With the help of the different bots, follow-up reminder can be given to a patients for their subsequent visit, because we have seen once the patient gets discharged, their reconnection with the hospital is very less, is less than 60%. So you can reconnect with your patients, an appointment can be booked online. So these are the entire digital piece which is happening within the hospital. So this is very specific. I'm talking about the hospital. Now we'll see broadly how it is, what are the different trends in healthcare which is shape up the future healthcare delivery. So we talk about the curative approach of most of the healthcare player. So that means if you are not feeling well, you will go to hospital, they will do surgery, procedure on you, and you will get discharged and be at home. Now, looking at what we have seen during the pandemic, availability of the bed and the overall the cost which we are discussing, the healthcare delivery is going to change. It will move from curative to preventive. And I'll also discuss the initiative as a group we are doing in the preventive. What will happen? You will have a lot of wearable devices, and we have seen the Apple Watch. I happened to visit the tail away last year, and I tell you, it is the fantastic startup ecosystem is available. A lot of funding is done by the government and a lot of institution, and the kind of innovations which is happening at this point of time, and which I have personally seen that enough is to shake and they change the entire healthcare system or the way healthcare delivery is happening. I'll tell you, I have visited one startup where you just need to stand at one place, and the infrared rays will come and touch your different parts of the body, and all the vitals will be tracked automatically, and it will register. And it can be done on a regular basis. Then there are other different patches, wearable devices available which will capture the data on a real-time basis and transmit it. So what we are saying is, going forward, patients will be focusing on a preventive health, and we will discuss about the NCD in subsequent slide. So patient will be at home taking a preventive health with the kind of the various devices. Then we are also talking, let's talk about the diabetic. If you are a diabetic, then the IoT devices are available where you will monitor your glucose. And with the help of the IoT devices, it can be captured online and transfer the data to cloud. And your endocrinologist or a diabetologist will have your daily record, how your glucose is monitored, how sugar is captured, and based on wherever the intervention is required, that will happen. So you will be at home, will be taking use of the wearable devices and IoT devices, and only when you require some surgery or a procedure based on the intervention or a suggestion of the doctors on preventive basis, you will go to your selected hospital. Now you have seen like Make My Trip, and there are a lot of aggregators are available where on transparent basis you can see what does the air ticket cost us, right? Similarly, there are different right now startup which are working on a different aspect of this, where on transparent basis, if you require any surgery in any of the hospitals, say 3 or 4, 5 hospitals, and you will get the options of 3, 4 doctors, and which doctor you want to get it done, which hospital, then what is the cost. That kind of a transparency will come. And there are a lot of 2, 3 startup which I already know. They are working very closely with the insurance group. So this will be made available to the patients, so they know what is the cost and which hospital they want to choose, which doctor they want to choose. So there will be a lot of transparency. So from home, you will go to hospital. And so basically in hospital, ALOS is very important, which is average length of the stay of the patient, right? And most of the 70% of the cost incurred on a patient is within the 1.5 days. So no hospital is interested in keeping the patients more than 2.5 days, because then they will not make money. So it is important. And also you will require more beds to manage and treat more patients. So you will have a home healthcare system which is available to you. And now we are seeing a lot of home healthcare players already working in the market. And with the home healthcare nurse or a doctor or a paramedic, patient will be moved quickly to home. And we all know in home environment, patient recovers faster. And once the patient goes home, we already have a wearable devices, IoT devices, the continuum of care which continues with the help of the mobile application, whichever the hospital. So all the hospitals now moving onto their own apps where you have the data or critical parameters, everything is captured on a real-time basis. Max Healthcare have their own home healthcare team, Apollo has, and most of the hospital have their own home healthcare team. So the patients is quickly moved to home. So this is 360-degree approach, and this is how the healthcare delivery is going to change, which will be from home to hospital to home. in a quickest possible way. And when you are doing this, your cost will definitely come down. Let's talk more about the preventive health. Because we discuss about the cost and cancer or a diabetic. Take the case of, some of you might be from Delhi. In Delhi, every third person is a diabetic, every second person is a pre-diabetic. That means two-thirds of the Delhi population has a serious risk of being diabetic shortly. If we see right now, China is the capital of a diabetic. Very soon, like we have overtaken in population, we will overtake them in a diabetic too. And we will be the world's capital for a diabetes. And once we have a diabetes, all the problem will start, be it a cardiac problem or joint problem or a chronic disease. Everything starts, blood pressure, every problem will start diabetes. So it is very important for all of us to take the precautions and preventive health measures. So that's the reason what is happening. Like in Apollo, we have called something which is a pro health, and we are taking a major initiative, which is tomorrow, where we will be doing the health checkup of more than 1 lakh people in Chennai, right? So we are taking the complete responsibility of the city. It is very important, once you cross 35, it is very important to undergo annual health checkup, and based on that, you will be able to prevent a lot of diseases. Like in cancer, the kind of cost which is happening, or the kind of disease is spreading very fast, right? Only problem which we have of, because of this cancer is spreading, is the late detection of the cancer. Another problem is, since there is a late detection, you will have the stage 3 and 4, where survival chances of the patient becomes very low. So we are saying here is, it is very important to do a regular health checkup, and with the help of the IoT devices, with the patches where you can monitor your heart on a regular basis based on a doctor's suggestion, maybe a 24 hours or a week or a 15 days, and a real-time basis data goes to a central team, and it can be monitored. What we have also seen, one example I'll give you is in Bhavnagar, Gujarat, which is Saurashtra part, where ECG is done. So there is a one hospital which is hub and spoke model. So they have a clinics around the entire city, and this purely dedicated to cardiology. And I said, we have a doctors who can't read the ECG, so it's a problem. So they have a devices where ECG is captured on a real-time basis through IoT devices. It is uploaded in the cloud, and there is a central team which is sitting there on a real-time basis, whether they will know if the patient is having a MI or not. If they're having is this heart attack, then the patient can immediately move to hospital, because first 1 hour is a golden hour, so a lot of life can be saved, and is really doing wonders. And in Bhavnagar, so there are a lot of startup which is working on a digital initiative. Similarly, we talked about the diabetes, how it can be monitored on a daily basis, and the you also need to have all your medical records, right? In subsequent slide, there is a national digital health mission launched by government of India, which we'll see in a subsequent slide. Or there are many apps which is available, where you can store your data. In Apollo, we store the data of the patients. Every year they come, and we monitor their annual health checkup records, and based on if we see any changes, we are suggesting it. And since we cannot do it manually, so we have a data analytics a system, which is again digital initiatives from Apollo, and most of the hospital is doing a lot of analytics and suggesting the patient what needs to be done. So preventive health is very important, and which can be managed with the wearable devices, IoT devices, patches, and connected devices. Now let's talk about the fourth theme and in digital one. Definitely what we are talking about, the smart care, and how the smart care can be provided. When you have all this kind of a system, definitely the patient outcome improves and your cost will go down, right? And how it will go down? Because you are ensuring they taking the preventive actions and not going for the curative, it will definitely bring down the cost. So preventive is better than cure, which we always say, right? Now with the further advancement, I can talk about the cancers. Now we are talking about the precision medicine. That means based on the kind of a cancer you have or the stages you have, you can be suggested a specific medicine. Earlier, it has to be a single medicine for all. Now it is very, very specialized, precision, and personalized medicine based on the further advancement. What is happening? Another is the care which is provided wherever you are. It is your doorstep. Be you require a consultation, except surgery and a procedure where you need to visit a hospital because it cannot be performed in your environment. Rest, everything can be done at home or in your comfortable environment. So it gives a ease to every single patient and accessibility. If we talk about the empowered care, so what is going to happen and is happening right now? Just through Ayushman Bharat, they have the 50 million patients data, which is already uploaded by government. So this data is available to patients. Going forward in future with the help of the blockchain, which we'll discuss in the subsequent slide, patient will take care or a control of their medical records. Right now, most of your medical records are available in the medical department or medical record room of the hospital. You go there, take out the data. So you are dependent on someone for a medical record. But with the digitization, you will be controlling your data and you will know what data you want to share with which doctor. Suppose, for example, if you have a 5 years data and you just want to share last 2 years data with the doctor, then it can be done very easily. So patient will take control, and they, because by doing this, they will feel empowered. Now they are controlling their data. Now intelligent health enterprise, most of the startup are coming in this field in digitization, and there is a lot of opportunity for most of the established player and the startup players. So things are changing in healthcare and changing very fast. Now let's see how it is changing. We talk about earlier, it was a physician centered approach where you used to go wait in a queue. You don't have much of option. You go to your GP or a family doctor. Sometimes if it's a famous, then you have to wait. Now that's not the cost. A lot of choices are available to you through a lot of teleconsult app where you can reach out to doctors very transparently. Their time is available, slots are available, you can book it. So it moved from physician centered to patient centric and patient focused. Now you have a lot of platform, a lot of app where there are a lot of communities where you can share, get the data, get the advices. So it is socially connected. It is not a single patients anymore. So you have a lot of patients groups also, which is helping. Now in healthcare, we are just not talking about the curative or the if you are sick, we'll take care, but everybody is talking about the well-being or the holistic approach regarding the health. So that's the other change which is happening. With the better outcome, with the monitoring, the data availability, another shift which has not happened in India, but you are seeing in the US and Europe, which is the based on outcome based uh, fees paid to the doctors. If the outcome is good, and most of the insurance company abroad are working on this model. So based on the if your outcome is better, I don't even see in India right now the quality data of all hospitals are published, because we like in insurance we have IRDA or a centralized agency. Right now we don't have any agency who's monitoring this, right? So it is very important. So the hospital, what is the difference between the quality of the services which I am providing at Apollo or the Manipal or a Max Healthcare or Fortis providing than any other local hospital in the city? That's where the quality comes into a play, and it is very important. By doing all this, there has to be a mechanism where everyone publish their data, outcome data, and then let the patient takes the informed decision where to go, which hospital, which healthcare service provider, and doctor. So that is going to happen. That's the another change I see, but that will take another 2 to 3 years. That's what we foresee. Earlier, the engagement with the patient is a one-time transaction. You come, do the consultation, and then it is up to the patient whether he wants to come back or not. Now, with the help of the digital platform, you have a lot of engagement can be done. You can send the messages to a doctor. You can send your blog, email, SMSs, WhatsApp with the different bots which are available, or you can send them a reminder, a follow-up visit. Or if so, and in Apollo, what we do if the patient has prescribed a medicine for a 10 days, and we know through our system if they bought, and on the ninth day we send them a reminder their medicine is getting over. So that's a delight to patients, and they will be happy to place the order, and we can deliver within an hour. So that's the kind of engagement which is happening, which is very proactive with the help of the digital platform. We discuss about the convenience and accessibility 24 by 7. If some of you have not tried, Apollo 24/7 is the another platform which you can use it. Transaction and isolating. Now it's now we will talk about the care team. So it is a multidisciplinary approach. When earlier it was a one doctor, and I can tell you, if any patients which come to us, we have a site-specific team, not only from the medical, surgical, or a radiation, but even our lab and radiology team is a very site-specific. They all come, discuss every single case and tumor board, and then the decision is taken. So now most of the hospitals are moving to MDT, which is a multidisciplinary approach. This is changing with all this kind of a changes which is happening. Earlier, you had a specific time. Now there is no specific time. You can do it from your home comfort, virtually, at your risk. So that's how the entire landscape is changing in the healthcare industry. Now let's talk about the ecosystem. On the provider side, we have a digital health agency, private hospital, then there are the different partners, government is playing its role, industry is playing a role. So all this platform in the ecosystem is available where we can help the patients in providing the care delivery. This is the another presentation of the same slide, talking about the ecosystem. I'll move to the main slide. This is the main slide. We'll spend some time. What are the digital trend we are seeing in India and how it is going to change the way forward? One is the definitely telemedicine. I don't need to talk much about it. Extremely sorry. Excuse me for the spell error. It is chatbots. Where a lot of things and engagement which is happening. So you will go take any website, they will ask you what kind of appointment is required, then you will submit the report, follow up, all kind of engagement which can be done with the chatbot. So it will reduces the lot of work of the people, and it will provide a lot of accuracy. IoT devices. I'm really disappointed, and this is I also work very closely with the health minister, and because we are coming from the same place from Gujarat. So I had a very discussion, and why I'm disappointed is we don't have a IoT devices company in India. Most of the IoT devices manufacturing company is in China, and some of them are in Europe, and very few in US. So most of it is dominated by China. So here, what we are suggesting is to bring down the cost. We really need to work on this piece and make in India. So IoT devices right now it is all imported, especially from the China. Another trend which we are seeing is the robotic surgery. And so I'll give you example in Chennai and Apollo. We had only two robotic Da Vinci system with us, which is the latest generation. And now within last 1.5 years, now two has moved to six. That means more and more patients wants to go through a robotic because it will have a very precise surgery, loss of blood is very less, and your discharges from the hospital is happening very fast. So robotic is the another way. More and more surgeons are getting trained. And another 3 years down the line, I see a major change moving from the laparoscopic to a robotic. AI is definitely one area where everybody is working. Though we have talked too much in healthcare industry about the AI, the real application on ground is taking a lot of time. I have seen the best use of it in the X-rays. What is happening with the because every doctor needs to spend time in ruling out there is nothing in the X-rays or the radiology report. So with the help of AI, obviously because of the medical legal issue, they need to see it once. So all those images which doesn't have an issue will be immediately taken as separate with the AI. But wherever there is issue, doctor will see it and then only sign. Otherwise, it will become medical legal issue. So AI will definitely play a major role. Lot of work which is happening, and here there's the reason why we are saying we are setting on the data, and how the data monetization will happen is depending on the kind of work which is happening at this point of time in AI. A good work which is happening on the neuro, we have seen in cancer some practical uses on the ground. Rest, I'll say it is the advanced stage in AI. Real application on the ground is just taking some time than the talk which is happening in the industry. But yes, I'm very bullish. Another 3 to 5 years, it will have a lot of use. Blockchain, as we are another 2 years time, blockchain will definitely hit the ground and in a big way, where you will be able to secure your data and the patients will be empowered to take the decision what kind of record he wants to share with anyone. So blockchain will definitely play a major role. All the mobile applications of the hospitals, people are everybody's are moved into this direction. Now moving into this direction, will have the consultations, pharmacy, radiology. So that helps them in driving the revenue and not to lose the patients. I am seeing a very practical use of VR and AR. I have shared few videos on my LinkedIn. This will definitely, right now, the people and startups are working on this. AR will definitely help in medical education. There are the most complicated cases where the environment can be created and on a dummy surgeries or education provided, which will be a completely 180-degree change from what it is done today. In VR, anyone can visit. So if I want to show anyone on my Proton Gantry with the VR, which we have already worked, so patient can see this and they will understand. If there are any patients who, if the patients there in my gantry, they cannot visit, but any patients who's coming wearing the glasses, they can see what kind of facility it is, how the proton radiation is provided, how it is helping the patients. So VR and AR, I'm very optimistic it is going to change the way education is done or the practice is done by the doctors, and everybody around in healthcare is going to change 180-degree. Another which trend, and I'm telling you the kind of work which I have seen in Israel is just amazing on the wearable devices. A lot of wearable devices, smart glasses we have seen, smart sneakers we have seen, activity tracker now we see in our phone and smart watches everywhere. By this, we will be able to track the all the critical parameters of the patients, and if there are any changes, preventive action can be taken, and further curation or going to hospitalization can be avoided. So this is the another trend. I think I was talking about this. I was very gung ho on wearable devices since last 8 years, but the development is going too slow. And now, after the pandemic, we are seeing the improvement and the wearable devices. Why another adaptation is taking time? I've just talked about we Indians are looking for the value and money right now. We Indians are very smart and don't see value at this point of time. Once the cost can be bring down, I'm sure this will be a game changer going forward. We talked about the data analytics, big data government is bringing. We have seen the site of AIMS was hacked, data was blocked, and that's a problem. So most of the healthcare needs to spend a lot of money on the data security, data analytics, and we are seeing a lot of investment are done by the healthcare service provider on this front. I've just talked about the National Digital Health Mission. If you have not visited the website, please go. Like in hospital, you have a unique ID of every patient. You can create your unique ID on this website, and you can share this unique ID to any hospitals or your doctors. So all the data or health record can be transferred digitally and it can be stored, and you can take a decision what kind of a data you want to share. Uh, One of my IAS officer who's very close friend, he is currently heading this National Digital Health Mission, and the kind of interaction which we had and the kind of development we are seeing, this is going to be a game changer going forward. They have already uploaded 50 million patient data on this portal, and government is taking a decisions. You must have seen the generic medicine stores set up by the government, so that kind of a generic medicine can be ordered through e-pharmacy, and it's really good. You can have a doctors, and at a very reasonable cost you can have a consultation, and there are free consultation is also available on this site for the category of the patients. So this is going to be a game changer. Another 2 years down the line, DigiLocker and National Digital Health Mission will be a complete game changer in India, and this will be another India stake based system for all the digital mission of government India in the private sector. We have been instrumental in this. There are two initiatives where our chairman wrote a letter to our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji on. So he had written about the 14 points, what can be done to make India a hub for the medical value travel. So Prime Minister invited him for the discussion, and our Prime Minister, being the Prime Minister, he told our chairman, Dr. P.C. Reddy, that why talk about only a curative approach, and the medical side of India, which is one of the best, and you'll see all the doctors available in Europe and Europe are Indian. He said, let's talk holistic. And the entire idea of Dr. P.C. Reddy, converted and named by our Prime Minister, is Heal in India. So this initiative where they have created a portal, I have been very instrumental, work closely with our health minister, where we have created a portal. That means right now, a lot of patients who wants to visit India for their healthcare need, because of the value which they see compared to all other countries and the advancement in our India. So we have a portal. They will send their requirement, send their report, which will be on the portal, shared with the different hospitals, and very transparently they will share what is the cost, who is the doctor, and based on this, it will bring a lot of transparency in system. Right now, if somebody is there from the healthcare, they understand what kind of a practices which is happening as far as the medical value travel is concerned, and how the international patients are looted. So this will bring a lot of transparency. Portal is there, so it's a digital initiative of government of India. Right now, the logo for Hill by India is not ready. That's the reason I have put it this. And there is a contest which is going on. If somebody is good with the logo, please create and submit it to Government of India, and you may win a prize. And Hill by India, as we have a lot of clinical talent or a paramedical talent available. They want to go abroad, especially the nurses. And there is a huge demand for Indian clinical and paramedic talent across the world. So you can submit your resume and which country you want to work. And if those country and the say private service provider, if they are interested in hiring you through this portal, they will reach out to you. And if there is any fraud which is happening in between through the mediator or middleman, it can be avoided. Government of India will ensure that everything goes smooth. Hill in India, now government has created a lot of stalls or a counter across the identified airports, where you can get immediately visa on arrival and everything can be taken care smoothly. So that's the another initiative, digital initiative by Government of India, which is Hill India and Hill by India. This is what we do at Apollo. We don't have a time, so I'll quickly run through this. Our ecosystem and in Apollo, what we are doing. Important slide is yes. So we have a different software. We have a marketing CRM. We have Med Mantra, which is our base HIS system. We have a care persona, which is used for the e-prescription. Then we have IoT devices with the help of home healthcare and Ask Apollo, and preventive health, which is a Pro Health. So all the data is exchanged a lot of analytics has been done, and we suggest patients what is required or what kind of a problem he may have in the future. So this work is which is already happening. We have different kind of a dashboard through this digital system. It throws up and can be taken a corrective action. This is the journey online booking which is happening based on different kind of a services, whether it's we have a preferential pricing system on which currently we are working. Then there are loyalty programs which we are working out where they can undergo health checkups. So this is the system, and we have a TLC, which is a patient experience. We call it a tender loving care at Apollo. And this is what we do for the outpatients and inpatients. I've already discussed about the how it can be converted. Conversion can be improved through conversions. Your revenue and the cost rationalization can happen. Patient pathway. This will help in creating the clinical outcome based on what kind of drugs we have used, what is the outcome based on the length of the stay. All this can be done, and for the future use, we know what kind of a data or a medicine will have impact on the patients. So we have a clinical pathway which is suggested through system. And yeah, so this is Apollo 24/7 you may like to visit. So we have offline and online. You may like to see online. We have delivery for medicine. Virtual consultation is available. Online diagnostic booking, you can do it. We do a condition management, health predictor with the help of the system, which I've just talked about in the previous slides. We are closely working with the health insurance digitally based on your record. We work very closely with the insurance company, and we are taking care of the holistic based on the pro health, which is a preventive. So this is what we do digitally at Apollo. And we have taken a lot of initiatives. We have data security, and we recently received, we are the only hospital which we take care, or healthcare service provider group in India which has the best compliance on the data and data protection. We have received the award, and our motto is to touch a billion lives. This is the uh, post ticket issued by the government of India. Thank you so very much. Happy to address question in case you have any.
Sure. Thank you so much, Harish. I think there are quite a few questions. Let me take the first one. This is from Anupriya Anwaria, and her question is, how is proton therapy different from alpha therapy? Thank you, Anupriya.
So in my opening remarks, I've said regular radiation will have a lot of side effect. It when it passes through the tumor, it touches the good tissue of the critical organ of your body. For example, if it's a brain and it's on brain stem, then there is a possibility it impact your cognitive skill, your thinking, your speech, which is not the case in case of a proton. So proton is a positive charge. It's a bragg pick. It goes and stop at the edge of the tumor, doesn't touch your good tissues, and it doesn't leave any toxicity in the body. So that's the difference.
Great. This is a question from Mr. Rishabh Pandey, and his question is, how do you think the rural population of India will respond to inclusion of robotics in procedures done? They might not have much confidence or might hesitate shifting from traditional care and services. Thank you, Rishabh.
So Rishabh, you need to understand, forget the rural area, even the city or the metro city patient will not come if required a surgery and come and ask doctor that I require a robotic surgery. And that will be very rare. If anyone talking is less than percentage, would be less than 1%. So patient will come to go to doctor will suggest a surgery. And since the robot penetration in India across is very less, patient go through a regular open surgery or a laparoscopic surgery. Now looking at the benefit, and now the insurance is also agreed for reimbursing the cost. Slowly we are seeing the movement, and please trust me, there is no dearth of money with the government of India. If it comes to that, government of India will buy robots, and which is currently happening, and provided this facility to rural India. My worry is the rural India getting the laparoscopic surgery and the regular surgery done, then the robotic.
Absolutely. And this is a question from Miss Maithili Dokupati. And her question is, what are the measures that are being taken regarding data privacy with the onset of digital healthcare? Thank you, Maithili.
So, Maiti, you must have seen the legislation put by the government of India, and in the current session of the parliament, which will be put up, we are seeing a lot of breaches which is happening on the data privacy of the patients or across in general. It will be made mandatory to store all the data, and there are kind of layers which you need to put around it, and there is a cost to it. It's very easy to hack the data of any healthcare service provider at this point of time. Uh, it's very easy. You just visit the website and you know how to. If someone has the reasonable knowledge, it's very easy to hack and get the data. And there's a reason I presented a slide. We are the only healthcare service provider across India. Those who have taken the initiative, the entire team from US visited our Apollo Proton Center, and they have seen the kind of initiative which we have done. And then subsequently it is taken by at Apollo group level. So yeah, so there is a serious issue. And with this legislation coming into a play, will make a lot of changes in the data security in general across India.
Thank you. This is a question from Mr. Ajay Oja, and his question is, would you please throw some light on the ways to include small and mid-sized hospitals to catch up with the modern trends like digitalization, robotics, IoT, blockchain, etc.? Thank you, Ajay.
So Ajay, in hospital setup you really don't require IoT devices because you have all the devices readily available. It can be captured and stored. Storing is an issue. What any hospital can be done, and there are a lot of startup and good institution or service provider. They provide the software as a service on the shared basis, where you can save the patient's data digitally and then store it and take a lot of decision making based on the data. IoT devices is available. You can just Google it, and it's a reasonable rate. If you buy it from the China, I don't know sure about the quality, but government of India is taking the decision. If you see in healthcare, the major cost, if we discuss about the affordability, and if we need to bring the affordability, more than 29 to 30% of the cost in hospital or capex goes in the replacement of the equipments in hospital. And most of these equipments are imported, and it's a huge cost to our economy and the foreign exchange. If it's done in India, and there's the initiative, government of India needs to work on it. If manufactured in India, I'm sure that will bring down the cost and hence overall cost across India. So for you, Ajay, you can take the help of the good vendors, and they'll be able to provide the services at very reasonable rate.
Thank you. This is a question from Maria Evangeline, and she has two questions, Harish. One is, to what extent will this digital initiative reach the rural population? And the second question, still network and smartphones are not accessible by majority of the rural population in India. Thank you, Maria.
Maria, that's a myth. I seriously encourage you to go and visit the rural India if you have not visited. I tell you, the people are watching the movies, and that is happening. And I've always talk about we will adapt to any system. We Indians are very smart if we see a value for money. If there is a value for money, and Geo has completely changed the game in India. All the credit goes to Reliance and Geo for doing this. As far as the all initiatives, digital initiatives in rural India goes, trust me, government of India has invested a lot of money in it. And I've talked about the PMJ, Jan Arogya Yojana, or which is Ayushman Bharat, we call. It's a universal health system. It is available to everyone. They have a unique health ID, and through which they are getting the benefit of 5 lakh rupees. And just go and see, people are taking the benefit of it. People are getting operated. All the data is stored by government of India. Even a lot of private, public, government, public partnership, a lot of initiatives are taking place in rural India. Arvind Eye Care, because I have also worked in Dr. Agarwal Eye Healthcare, a lot of initiatives, remote monitoring, which is happening. And then, yeah, a lot of initiatives which is already happening. And I'm very optimistic, and future is very bright. another 3 to 5 years down the line, things will change. And anyway, we have the fantastic talent in healthcare across the world. And I see a reverse brain drain, which is happening. The people who have left the India are coming back. Similar things which you will see in IT now after the layoff.
Absolutely. This is a question from Abhishek Sharma, and his question is: are there any comprehensive digital healthcare record platform apps available for individual private practitioners? If yes, how good is the data privacy on such an app? Thank you, Abhishek.
A lot of players are available. I don't know, take any name. If you have my number, reach out to me on LinkedIn. On public platform, it is not right for me to take any name of the service provider. But for a private practitioners, a lot of software which is available as software as a services, it can be shared, or even it can be a white label if you're ready to invest money. Data security, people are working on it, and I'm sure another 6 months down the line we'll see a lot of improvement. Just because we have to worry about it, we cannot stop the movement or digital transformation. We need to take a single step in the right direction. So that's what is required at this point of time. Reach out to me, private message me, I'll provide the details.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, Harish, for that. And this is a question from Mr. Vijay Raghavendra. And his question is, what about the future of medical coding jobs in India?
I think that's far ahead, and we as a country have done a fairly good job. You just go to any part of Kerala, Delhi, even the rural area, a lot of work which is happening, and there are a lot of, we have the fantastic clinical talent. Those who are not from the allopathy and the coming from the different streams, they have invested a lot of time, money in this and infrastructure and doing this coding work, and they are really doing well. That's another option which we have, and a lot of companies from different world are setting up their infrastructure in India. I know many hospital service provider from UAE has opened up their centers in India, especially in Kerala. I have seen many centers. So yeah.
And this is a question from Dr. Ankit Goyal, and his question is: any idea if Ayush system or ministry is open to accept digital healthcare for treatment modalities under its domain? Thank you, Ankit, Dr. Ankit.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Any idea if Ayush system or ministry is open to accept digital healthcare for treatment modalities under its domain?
Yes. So if you see, there is a clear-cut guidelines from Government of India on a digital health, and it clearly says what are the things needs to be done, and it is accepted by Government of India. So I don't see any issue in this.
And we have a question from Shreyasi De, and her question is: how will digitization of preventive healthcare take place for the patients who are hard to reach from the basic healthcare providing unit, especially in extreme interior parts of India, in international borders or enclave regions, etc.? And her follow-up question is on: as those places have internet blocks and different and unpredictable problems throughout the year. Thank you, Shreyasi.
Yeah, I completely agree with your concern, and that's a concern which Government of India is addressing it. It might take time because the electrification of those villages are happening after 75 years of independence. And we are talking about the connectivity. I'm sure it will not take 75 years, may take few more months or a year to provide the connectivity. And for that, BSNL is a given mandate to work on those villages. And if any private service provider is working on those kind of villages, border area, or where the connectivity is an issue, they have been provided an incentive. I have worked also in the telecom sector, so I know a lot of private players are working on those initiatives. And another 2 years down the line, I see every village will be connected. We are the initiators and moving fast on the 5G than any other part of the world. So I'm sure connectivity in some of the districts border area isn't at this point of time some issue, but trust me, since I'm a private, I can assure you, government is working with the private players, and BSNL is working on this. Another 2 years, it will be covered.
Thank you. This is a question from, I'll just take two more questions with your permission, Harish, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. This is the question from Dr. Vartika Patil. Our question is what happens in case of IT failure? Also, ethical issues like data ownership and fairness, sustainability of this digitalization. Thank you, Dr. Vartika.
Yes, so good question. And I've said government is putting the legislation. Data privacy is paramount, especially in healthcare. And there are some issues at this point of time with the legislation. This concern will be addressed. And most of the healthcare service provider are very well aware what is coming their way, and they have already started taking the corrective action. If you see the FICCI or CII and what they are recommending to a healthcare service provider, you will know. So yes, it's a concern, and I'm not sure whether we'll be able to address it completely within a year or so. It might take 3 years, even if it started today. And this will require a lot of investment. So that's another concern, whether we are ready for it and whether everyone will be able to do it. But I'm sure the larger player or the top service provider will be able to do it immediately, and it might take some time. And government need to help everyone in this field. Like they have the open API for a lot of software. Government needs to help service provider.
And today evening's last question, with your permission, Harish, is from Nikhil. And his question, hello, sir. How will be the scope of pharmaceutical manufacturing sector in the future of, future and the scope of pharmaceutical manufacturing sector in India, especially in making automation or semi-automation and packaging machines? Thank you, Nikhil.
Nikhil, very honestly, I have a very limited knowledge on the manufacturing side, so I'm not the right person to answer this. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
No, not at all. I think thank you so much, Harish, for I think we have already jumped the gun for office 60 minutes past your scheduled time. But thank you so much from all of us for spreading this entire canvas on digitalization and the digital healthcare system in India. And like you rightly said, I think we couldn't agree with you more on the optimism, in terms of making sure that this, all this initiative will, touch the nook and corner of this country, and so therefore there'll be a hail and healthy India in the years to come. Thank you so much, Harish, from all of us.
Thank you so very much. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Thanks.